press and enthusiasm. Wow, I'm not sure I've ever made a... tell you for sure that almost no one makes presentations that broad-based, that in-depth, and that professional in 20 minutes. Not only are we very proud in the advertising industry of the students who competed in this national competition, but I think we're all a little bit nervous of the new talent that's entering the field.
Bringing students from textbooks and classrooms to the real-world pressures and deadlines of advertising. That's the concept behind the American Advertising Federation's National Student Advertising Competition. This competition allows students to experience the reality of advertising by developing a campaign from actual case studies. In addition to professional clubs and corporate members, AAF has 175 student chapters with over 5,000 members comprising 15 geographic districts. Each district holds its own competition, and winners go on to present their campaigns at the national level. The top student advertising teams met at the Marriott Pavilion in St. Louis, Missouri for the 1990 NSAC Finals and AAF National Advertising Conference. The 1990 sponsor was the Hearst Corporation. Hearst presented the students with a unique challenge to create and position a new magazine. Students were asked to develop a marketing and advertising plan for the new title. Each team of students, after immersing themselves in the publishing world, submitted a prototype of their new title and a 50-page plans book. They presented their recommendations to a panel of 6 judges. Robert Brink, Executive Vice President and Group Publishing Director for Hearst Magazines, was one of the judges for this year's competition.
We thought it would be a valuable opportunity for you and the hundreds of your peers around the country to have hands-on experience with a magazine publishing.
The judges panel also included other professionals from the publishing industry. David Bentley, Senior Vice President and Publishing Director, Adweek. Annette Capone, Editor-in-Chief, Red Book Magazines, and Daniel Coleman, Jr., Vice President of Operations, Hearst Magazines. Mike White, Executive Vice President, Director of Media at DDB Needham, Chicago, and Martin Landy, Chairman of the Board, Cox Landy and Partners. After a strenuous day of competition, Southwest Texas State University emerged as the winning team.
Southwest Texas.
Penny Ash, Jody Epperly, Candy Mountain, James Stewart, and Chuck Bettner were the impressive students that presented the winning presentation to the judges. And now, Southwest Texas State University presents the 1990 winning presentation.
The headlines tell the story. Men's magazines are the hot new niche of the 1990s. In just the past 2 months, 4 major publishers have announced plans to produce new magazines targeting the 25 to 54-year-old male. This reinforces our initial 4 months of research, which led us to the same conclusion. Men are hot. I'm Candy Mountain, this is James Stewart, Jody Epperly, Penny Ash, and Chuck Bettner on AV. The Southwest Image Group from Southwest Texas State University is proud to present the winning campaign and the Hearst Corporation's new title.
8 magazine categories were considered, but found to be either unprofitable or saturated. With only a handful of magazines catering to the lifestyle of the male, this category is far from saturated. Only 6 major general interest publications cater specifically to the lifestyle of the male. Total circulation of these 6, 9.3 million. However, 1990 projections indicate there are 4 times as many men, 25 to 54, in the United States.
We will target 2 of the fastest growing segments of this population, men 35 to 44 and 45 to 54. The Hearst Corporation will benefit greatly by expanding into this largely untapped market with a new magazine titled Perspective, A Man's View. But what about Esquire, Hearst's current entry in the male magazine category?
Perspective targets an older man than the Esquire reader. The Perspective reader is also a married, educated man with a higher household income than the Esquire reader. Perspective will have less emphasis on fashion than Esquire, and more of a focus on the information and events which celebrate the life of a thinking man. So, Perspective won't cannibalize Esquire's target market. Rather, it will expand Hearst market share in the men's category.
To uncover the complex nature of this man, primary data were gathered from 920 respondents through telephone surveys, questionnaires, and focus groups. Psychographic profile of the target market of paramount importance. 3 different psychographic measurements were used: VALS 2, PRISM, and descriptive self-disclosure.
The VALS 2 study revealed that the prospective man can be found in 2 VALS categories: actualizers and fulfills. Actualizers have high incomes and such high self-esteem and abundant resources, they can indulge in any and all activities of their choosing. Image is important to them, not as a statement of status or power, but more an expression of their taste, independence, and character.
Fulfilleds are mature, responsible, well-educated professionals. Their leisure activities center on their homes, but they're well-informed about what goes on in the world, and they're open to new ideas and social change. They have high incomes, but they're practical, value-oriented consumers.
Using the PRISM system, it was found that the target market lives in neighborhoods like furs and station wagons and young suburbia. These neighborhoods are characterized by upper middle class, child-rearing families residing in either metro or outlying suburbs.
The highest percentage of Esquire subscribers reside in the clusters known as the urban Gold Coast and the Bohemian mix. These neighborhoods are populated by educated, white-collar, childless singles in upscale urban areas. With the combination of Esquire and Perspective, Hearst will have the dominant position in the educated, white-collar male market. But all studies and systems aside, how does this man see himself? What is he like in informal terms?
The prospective man is goal-achieving. He has spread his life across various planes, setting and achieving specific goals to sharpen his mental and physical abilities. He is able to see the beauty in the everyday world around him and yet maintain a realistic perspective. He's self-actualizing. His concepts of success are individualistic and apart from the mainstream. This multifaceted man participates in a wide variety of activities and interests. He is open-minded. He enjoys the challenge of a new activity or project.
The Perspective man is very family-oriented. He's not afraid to reveal his emotions. He realizes macho is out. He also realizes the importance of taking care of himself. He's active in individual sports for the exercise and the challenge of self-improvement. While he's not limited in his occupations, he's usually found in management, sales, self-employed, or professional careers, and his average household income is $50,000. His main expenditures go toward rearing and educating his children, but he also spends freely on the products and services directly related to his personal interests.
Several problems and opportunities face Perspective on its rise to the top. Although Perspective is targeting a previously untapped segment of the male population, it must still battle for position against both currently established magazines being introduced into this category. The media and creative departments must strive to overcome the facts that this man does not frequent newsstands and won't actively seek out new titles.
Perspective will seize the opportunity of entering a relatively untapped segment of the magazine industry, which offers a target with tremendous growth potential throughout the 1990s. This task is aided by the fact that there's a strong demand for Perspective within the target market. Hearst's financial strength will enable Perspective to gain a strong, preemptive position in the male market that the competitors have failed to gain due to their lack of advertising. Is that smart? Now that you're familiar with the target market, we'll better acquaint you with the content of the magazine. Jody?
The thinking man wants a magazine that combines all of his interests, but he hasn't been able to find one until now. Perspective is a timely, broad-based magazine that celebrates, chronicles, and fosters the special interests and pursuits of the thinking man.
Perspective is edited for mature men with distinctive ideas and diverse interests. Its wide variety of quality departments will attract world-renowned journalists like Carl Sagan, Thomas Wolfe, and Bill Moyers.
Let's look through the prototype as we experience Perspective. The cover features an artist's rendition of Rodin's The Thinker. This masterpiece was chosen because it embodies the spirit of Perspective. It's classic, yet masculine, and portrays man as an intelligent, sensitive being. Perspective is a powerful, intelligent magazine, and this cover shows it.
The 3 representative ads portray the wide array of advertisers research has shown Perspective will attract. General coverage includes subjects normally found in specialty magazines, like science, environment, and cultural heritage.
Editorial content that excites the intellect and challenges the imagination is the heart of Perspective's editorial philosophy. Feature stories will be drawn from any of the 12 departments. Symposium is the letters to the editor department. It's dedicated to the expressions, opinions, and general observations of prospective readers.
In the premiere issue, the editor explains the philosophy of perspective, which will make this magazine a valuable resource in the reader's pursuit of knowledge and experience.
Show us the common man doing the uncommon thing.
The tribute department does that by saluting the contributions of men, women, and organizations that are making a difference.
The premiere issue pays tribute to Benjamin Franklin, the father of the American magazine, on its 250th anniversary. Franklin's lifelong list of efforts and achievements make him the inspiration for everything Perspective is devoted to celebrating.
Tribute and Perspective does more than tell the reader who's hot. It salutes the people that are dedicated to improving themselves and society. Rather than descriptions of popular attractions or tourist traps, the excursions department is dedicated to satisfying the thinking man's desire for exploration and unique experience. He has the time, money, and desire to venture off the beaten path and experience a different type of vacation.
In this issue, the reader is taken to the top of a Mexican volcano in July 1991 for a first-hand account of a total solar eclipse, a natural phenomenon that has fascinated and haunted man for thousands of years.
Your how-to department, Enterprise, introduces your man to useful new skills, crafts, and techniques, satisfying his desire for self-sufficiency and self-improvement.
Here, the reader is shown how to host a family reunion, giving some lighthearted tips on what humorous Dave Barry calls a sometimes perilous undertaking.
The final section offered in the prototype is Monologue, your opinion page, with commentary from various leading experts. Monologue was created to expose your readers to thoughts from the greatest minds of our day.
Of course, Perspective does offer other departments which we couldn't include in our prototype.
Heritage relates the past to the present with intriguing, enlightening, historical information that is relevant to him and his culture.
Suggested articles include the changing role of the American father, the subjugation of Native Americans, and the 50th anniversary of Pearl Harbor.
Your man is socially conscious and interested in the natural world. Habitat presents him with facts and solutions to the processes endangering our natural habitat.
Your fitness and medical department, Health, will satisfy his desire to maintain personal vigor and vitality.
Parables, Perspective's fiction department, offers readers a sample of contemporary novels or short stories, while Perspective's Art Forum, Gallery, provides analysis and reviews of the media arts and cultural events. Throughout the year, 4 special issues will highlight certain events in the Perspective calendar. The Year in Perspective is a year-end digest of the most important Perspective features, including the year's best articles and follow-ups to each one.
April's Summer Retreats issue features a guide to 10 intriguing vacation spots that are off the beaten path from tourist traps.
The July issue features the man of Perspective, who through his accomplishments, ideas, and outlook best exemplifies what Perspective is all about.
In October, 10 women are saluted as Women in Perspective. These are women who deserve respect and recognition for their outstanding accomplishments as innovators and professionals.
Perspective is the magazine of the 90s that gives the thinking man what he wants. The largest growing untapped segment of magazine readers say they will buy Perspective magazine. James?
Perspective is a superior product. This makes the task of media decision-making simple. Almost. The Hearst method, which introduced Victoria with no fluff and great results, will be expanded to achieve high reach in a hard-to-reach target market. Hearst Plus is designed to introduce Perspective to advertisers in 3 phases and to consumers in 2.
Hearst Plus will enable Perspective to do what no other men's magazine has done. Achieve high rate-based circulation and start making money fast.
The immediate phase introduces Perspective to advertisers through media buyers with trade publications, a videotape, and media kit. Mailing will precede the first issue by nearly 4 months to ensure early issue advertising sales.
The video will contain editorial and target market information, an early glimpse of the Perspective television spot, and will serve as a tease for the media kit.
Trade publications will be used to build awareness and show Hearst corporate support for a new title.
The Read It phase downshifts Hearst Plus. Trade publications will continue to increase the awareness of Perspective.
By phase 3, advertisers need it. Perspective becomes a necessary tool for advertisers wishing to grab a previously unreachable segment of the male population without a massive media mix.
Marketing and Media Decisions magazine will be used to maintain interest.
Consumers will be introduced to Perspective through a state-of-the-art media hybrid. Austin, San Diego, and Hartford were chosen to test a concise mailing list and cable television mix to reach the thinking man. In consumer phase 1, opinion leaders, about a third of the target market, will meet it.
70% of the men that fit the demographic and psychographic profile will gain awareness of perspective through a precise three-phase direct mail effort and spots on CNN and CNN headline news.
The rising cost of mail makes the PRISM data overlay a necessary tool to rifle shoot the target. Media hybrids, such as direct mail and cable, are cost efficient and the key to effective media in the future.
And research shows that this method can increase response as much as 300%.
During phase 2, the read it phase, direction of advertising to consumers shifts to the women in the prospective man's life.
A full-page color ad and postcard inserts will be in Victoria. Perfect timing for picking up that Christmas gift subscription for the man who has everything.
In years 2 and 3, Perspective should investigate the use of direct mail agents like Publishers Clearinghouse, the use of telemarketing for resubscriptions, and other promotional considerations such as advertisements in in-flight magazines, and eventually the production of a cable Perspective program designed to appeal specifically to the target market.
The thrust of media spending for Perspective will be in direct mail to the consumers. Total media spending is just above $2 million, which represents 64% of the $3.4 million campaign budget.
We have developed a comprehensive 3-year business plan which will allow us to achieve a minimum circulation of 750,000 by year 3.
Aborting and accelerating parameters have been built into this plan to provide guidelines for evaluation and flexibility if certain milestones aren't met. The recommended indicators are number of new subscriptions sold, the renewal rate, advertising pages on order, and market survey results.
Perspective will be profitable by the end of year 2.
Further details regarding the business plan may be found in the plans book.
Sales promotion for Perspective targets advertisers in the first year with the videotape and media kit. Consumers who subscribe will receive the Premier Collector's Edition free.
We suggest that Perspective takes steps to develop lucrative marketing partnerships with major marketers through custom tailor ad packages. Sony Corporation, IBM, and General Electric are among the major marketers that should exhibit a special interest in sponsoring an issue of Perspective.
Sponsorship of a Perspective booth at consumer electronics and computer trade shows could be a consideration of these marketing partnerships. The synergy of vehicle combinations and the interaction between media and sales promotion will make Perspective a leader for the 21st century. Penny?
Our creative challenge was to unforgettably position Perspective in the minds of both media buyers and consumers. We've developed a creative strategy that not only unifies a campaign, but encompasses everything Perspective is about, the pursuit of knowledge and experience.
Our overall creative strategy is to use visuals that emulate the thinking man's point of view perspective. Our editorial philosophy is to bring experience into written word. Our creative strategy echoes that philosophy and creates brand identity.
Your trade ads will clearly and dramatically position Perspective as the foremost medium for reaching the thinking man. The point of view perspective coupled with the headline, "To reach this man, look through his perspective," appeals to media buyers with a clever play on words that reinforces the name Perspective.
The body copy introduces Perspective as the magazine dedicated to the thinking man, his life, his pursuits, and his perspective. As the target market's lifestyle changes, the visuals will change with it. For instance, this visual shows how the thinking man sees his family as an important part of his life. Future body copy will inform media buyers of the success of Perspective.
The most important selling tool for the media buyer is the media kit. The attractive design and signature die-cut cover featuring a point of view perspective will grab his attention. The headline, "Look Through Perspective," invites the media buyer to take a look inside.
Upon opening the cover, the buyer will be able to thumb through a series of lifestyle cards featuring the same visuals found on trade ads, accompanied by demographic and psychographic information. A premiere issue, rate card, and editorial calendar are included to give media buyers the information they need.
Every time the media buyer looks through the media kit, a different lifestyle image may show through the front. The media kit, like the Perspective reader, is diverse and ever-changing.
In order to understand the wants and needs of the consumer, we had to do more than look at surface characteristics. We had to get inside his mind and look through his point of view. What would he want from a magazine?
He wants comprehensive, up-to-date articles written by renowned journalists. He wants more than fashion hype or high society. What he wants is perspective. Your 60-second television execution entitled Experience Perspective will grab his attention and involve him in the action of the commercial. 3 different departments of the magazine are depicted: travel, environment, and science. Southwest Image Group now invites you to look through Perspective.
Introducing Perspective, a man's view. Travel in Perspective does more than tell you where to go. It takes you there. Environment in Perspective looks below the surface to dig up the truth. Science in Perspective gives you more than the facts. It explores new possibilities. In fact, every section in Perspective magazine brings you more than just a story. It takes you into the experience. Perspective magazine. Call today and receive your premier collector's edition free.
Primary research clearly showed that the thinking man wants information about the contents of the magazine and the philosophy of the editor. This full-color fold-out direct mail piece will give him what he asked for. The front of the direct mail piece looks like the cover of the premiere issue.
The first fold of the piece features the same point of view perspective of the rainforest scene found in the television execution. The headline reads, "Look through perspective and discover." The mailer is then filled with information on the contents of the magazine, as well as sample articles from the premiere issue.
Also included in the mailer is a letter from the editor, giving editorial philosophy and inviting the reader to try perspective. Both television and direct mail are designed to attract the thinking man's attention and follow through with a call to action for him to subscribe.
How do we know this campaign will work?
Simplicity. All messages are easy to understand and get right to the point. The thinking man isn't interested in silly sweepstakes or free phones or other cheap gimmicks when it comes to buying a magazine. He wants information.
Specificity. Each message is delivered with a specific purpose in mind. Trade ads and media kits are designed specifically to identify the target market to media buyers. Advertising for consumers is designed to introduce them to perspective and its editorial philosophy, but most important, encourage him to subscribe.
Durability. By design, this campaign offers unlimited creative executions. As the market changes, the perspective campaign can change and grow right along with it.
Advertisability. All messages create and build the brand image of perspective. They are believable, true to life, and elicit specific, measurable responses. Candy?
You gave us the challenge, we accepted. We've created a powerful magazine that will enhance the Hearst family, and we guarantee its stability and growth. Southwest Image Group appreciates the opportunity of presenting this new title, and we congratulate you beforehand on the success of Perspective, A Man's View.
Numerous rewards await students who participate in the NSAC. Not only do they obtain the immediate satisfaction of achieving a standard of excellence set by the AAF and their advisors, students also receive lasting career results. Participants in the NSAC find themselves better prepared for the job market. Additionally, students earn respect and honor from their colleges, the judges, and their peers. AAF is pleased to announce the 1991 NSAC sponsor, American Airlines. College chapter members will be challenged with positioning American Airlines as the premier U.S. international carrier. The 1991 National Finals will be held June 8th at the Opryland Hotel in Nashville, Tennessee. For more information about the NSAC student competition or other American advertising programs, please contact AAF headquarters in Washington, D.C.
The American Advertising Federation is the only national organization that welds all segments of advertising into a single nationwide force. The AAF, because of its grassroots structure and broad-based membership, is committed among professional marketing and advertising organizations to contribute to the health of the industry it represents. The AAF succeeds in protecting and serving its professionals through important objectives, such as government relations, self-regulation, public service, and recognition of advertising excellence. However, the membership of the American Advertising Federation does some of its most significant work supporting the advertising industry through its fine education programs. The highlight of that essential educational effort is the annual AAF National Student Advertising Competition. The NSAC each year provides over 1,000 students in more than 200 colleges and universities around the country a real-world, hands-on experience in advertising, as student teams step into the role of advertising agencies and develop and present campaigns to a nationally known client. A designated corporate sponsor each year develops a realistic case study for a product or service and distributes those case studies to campuses in the fall. Student teams then prepare complete marketing and advertising campaigns to answer the case study challenge that requires research, media selection, budgeting, creative strategies, and campaign rationalizations. Materials submitted during the competition become the exclusive property of sponsoring corporations. Corporations the likes of Nabisco, Adolph Coors, Coca-Cola, Warner Lambert, Corning Glass, Tandy Corporation, Burger King, Levi Strauss, Chevrolet Motor Division, Nestle Foods, Kellogg's, American Airlines, and the Hearst Corporation.
The greater winner, though, I think, in all of this is the advertising industry itself, because through this competition, they are getting potential or future professionals with greater skills. And so the whole industry is really enhanced because of this competition, which I think it can easily be said it's the premier student competition in advertising in the country.
The 10th District of the American Advertising Federation, representing advertising professionals in Arkansas, Louisiana, Oklahoma, and Texas, maintains one of the strongest, most successful education programs in the nation. The 10th's financial commitment to advertising education is second to none among the 15 districts of the AAF, providing scholarships for students and financial reimbursement for student teams to travel to a completely underwritten semifinal competition at the district's spring convention each April. University faculty advisors have experienced the results firsthand.
I had the opportunity to look at this competition over a period of 15 years. And throughout that entire time, as an educator, I've learned that there is no greater benefit to students in the district than participating in this project. And I know in talking with students who've been out 10, 12 years, like Bill Holler, he feels like that was the best part of his educational experience at the University of Texas, was going through the real-world application that's provided through the vehicle of the NSAC. And so, no question about it, it's a wonderful experience.
It provides an unbelievable experience and causes them to focus on their careers more than anything I know of. And all the talking and all the lecturing by people like me who teach advertising, we're pale besides what the experience of going through one of these is. And if they're lucky enough to win the district and go on the national, it's even more so. It's probably the best track to get a job initially for a student that's interested in an advertising career.
The ability to get along with other people that probably are not in their discipline. We at Southwest Texas, we teach it as an interdisciplinary course where the class will have marketing majors, journalism majors, their ad sequence, art majors, technology majors, and it's a real eye-opener for these students to see how other disciplines work and to learn to get along with the discipline. A lot of times there's a battle between the research people and the creatives that has to be ironed out. And so those are some of the things I think they walk away with that can't be taught in a textbook.
And without the support of the Ed Federation, we would not be here today, quite literally. Our university is going through the same.
We absolutely have to continue the program. It's essential to tomorrow's advertisers.
The The ultimate benefit to supporters of this fine competition is the availability of the fresh talent to draw from. In this way, we can ensure that our own ranks are replenished with outstanding new professionals. The 10th District, with many fine colleges and universities, will field a competition of 16 teams or more. After months of preparation, these student teams are judged by advertising professionals at the district semifinal competition in the spring.
Best presentation, the best plans, book, and prototype, and the #1 team, Southwest.
Since the competition began in 1973, many of the advertising professionals who are now working in our district and are now senior members of the AAF have come full circle and are giving back to the industry and the system that helped them.
Most of it, I think I've learned, I wasn't really aware of it at the time, but I've become real aware of it in the last 12 years since I got out of school. And several things I've actually shared with the students here in this competition. I think more than anything else, the process you go through in putting together this whole presentation, from the research and the planning and the development and the oceans of coffee that you drink, and then just the euphoria that you feel right before you make that presentation, and then the incredible down that you feel when it's over. It's very similar to new business. I mean, it is almost an identical process, and as an account supervisor, I'm very heavily involved in new business. I think I learned a lot about how to accept defeat graciously and victory with great joy, a lot because of the competition.
And I received a great amount of enthusiasm and value from being a part of that team, a lot of confidence. It let me know really what the working world was all about. If I really wanted to get into this full-time as a profession, it let me meet professionals. It let me do some actual marketing research, some actual real creative. It just gave me an overall confidence that I really did and I really could do this profession, and that I was going to be good at it, that I was going to like it. It's very, very much like what you actually do in real life in the advertising industry, and I know that it was a direct stepping stone to where I am today.
Being in the competition in 1980 and then being the chairman of it 3 years ago in Little Rock, and now teaching at Tech and teaching students that are going through it. This is by far, after being at Tech and being involved with it like I have, the AAF team is by far the best thing a student in advertising curriculum can do. I mean, it's without a doubt. I mean, the courses are real nice and they learn a lot. Obviously, they have to have the courses, but this is the closest thing to real life experience as far as being in an agency that I've ever seen, and the students get so much out of it, and it really helps them later on also getting jobs.
I've always reflected back on the AAF student competition as probably the one key bit of real experience that I received in college. Away from memorizing where the pieces of type go into a hot type box, I mean, didn't mean a lot to me when I got out in the world, but having written the document, the planning document, and having worked with the other people, developed that team, and carried a concept through to execution, really did prepare me, I think, better than anything else I did in college.
The 10th District continues to honor its tradition of generous financial support, but finding it is no small feat. Schools can spend thousands of dollars in preparation, and the district's commitment is over $25,000 to run the competition. That's why we ask your help. Voluntary patrons of the National Student Advertising Competition can become advertising education sponsors. With their tax-deductible donation, each AES member receives a newsletter about the competition and 10th District teams. But most of all, AES members take great satisfaction in knowing they have made an invaluable contribution to the future of advertising and its enlightened new talent.
A hands-on experience. You can't come down here with something thrown together in a couple of weeks or a month and expect to even, feel good about what you're doing. You really can't. And I mean, this is a tough competition. There are a lot of good people here with great ideas. Once you start something, you've got to finish it. And it might be hard, and it might be late nights. You might be up for 72 hours and have 2 hours of sleep, but you can do it too. I think that's the biggest thing I learned, is that you can do it.
I think the biggest value is that you learn much more about advertising than just textbook approaches. There's there's a lot of things that go into a campaign that you never really learn about in school that you find out here. I mean, you find out what's really more important in a campaign than pushing your creative or pushing your marketing, or when to back off on a certain thing. And there's a lot of instances, depending on what the client is, of when you can go with your instinct rather than going with the numbers. And that's what you learn when you do these kinds of campaigns.
Working as a group and working under pressure, because the pressure was great. And we didn't crack. And that's something we learned. We learned about strength as a group. And that's a very valuable experience to have gotten from this class and from this competition.
I'm the president of the Ad Club. We've just got it started up at West Texas State University. And the competition is coming to Amarillo next year, and it'll be our first competition. And from being here today, I can tell we're up against quite a bit. So I need to go back and really inspire everybody in the club and recruit as much as we can, because we've got a lot of competition in store for us once we get back.
The biggest value is being able to see the overall concept of advertising. We'll be able to see the beginning, working with the client, and then going through all the concepts involved to get to the final product. And that aspect is the best of all, because normally you're working in a class situation, you only get to see that one aspect, the media buy, or you're working with just the marketing aspect. But here you get to do the whole thing, and it's for real. I'm primarily a management degree, and so working in a directorship, I was able to manage 5 departments and be able to keep them going when they need to be going and have everything all organized and for the finished product. And having to work with each one is different. You have to really understand what's trying to be done at that point and how these people see themselves fitting in the whole project.
Well, student competition for me has done a lot more than I expected. It's really been fantastic. It's been a lot of work, but it's really taught me a lot about myself and how I work with other people under stress. I thought I could handle a lot of things, and I've really learned my limitations and how to try to exceed those.
The marvelous competition culminates at the national finals in June, when teams representing the AAF's 15 districts come together at the AAF's national conference. Winning universities from the 10th district consistently place high at the national competition and have won more first-place titles than any other district in the American Advertising Federation.
Not only are we very proud in the advertising industry of the students who competed in this national competition, but I think we're all a little bit nervous of the new talent that's entering the field. Anybody that saw them had to be impressed, not only with professionalism and enthusiasm, but if they were really honest, they probably said, wow, I'm not sure I've ever made a presentation like that. And I can tell you for sure that almost no one makes presentations that broad-based, that in-depth, and that professional in 20 minutes.
All right, now for the grand prize winner, Southwest Texas.
Please help us in strengthening advertising education in Arkansas, Louisiana, Oklahoma, and Texas. Say yes, yes to AES, and become an AAF 10th District Advertising Education sponsor today.